We're going to talk LinkedIn ad formats. So in the previous video, we talked about choosing your objective, and now we're going to just briefly cover the ad objectives. And in an intermediate later video, I'm going to deep dive into each one and show a bunch of examples and use cases. But in this one, I'm just going to touch on each of them and maybe show you one example. So the very first one is single image ad. This is the most used format, and it's very simple. It's an image with intro text above it and headline, and I'll jump over here and I'll show you an example. So this is a single image ad. As you're scrolling natively down your LinkedIn home feed, you'll see an ad that's here. It says promoted. That's how you know it's an ad. It has the company. It shows how many followers that company has. And that's something I would say to keep in mind when you're brand new and you're running LinkedIn ads and you only have 3 company page followers. It does actually impact the quality of your ad. And if you can get over 1,000 followers quickly, that actually will improve the initial success of your ads. But single image ads, so they have a small portion of intro text. You can click see more or read more. And if it's a desktop, you have the option of showing more. On mobile, it's usually just that intro line. Then you have an image, you have this is the headline, and then you have a call to action, which can be learn more, sign up, request demo. And the cool thing about single image ads is that they live on the home feed. They can actually accumulate likes, comments, shares, and just like the social proof of having a lot of followers, the social proof of accumulating social engagement can strengthen the quality of the ad and improve the cost per click. So let's go to the next one. So the next one that we're going to talk about is carousel image. And these, I'm not going to be able to find a good example quickly on my feed, and not very many companies run them, but essentially it would be those kind of slider ones where you have an image and then it shows like the partial of the next, and you can cycle through 3 or 4 or 5 images, and each one can have its own little intro text and headline and a call to action. And so they're kind of cool. Usually they're more for like brand awareness and exposure. They don't have amazing cost per click. But they're usually pretty nice to just kind of put maybe, I don't know, different things about your team or different products you offer or different angles. And they're more for engagement or just exposure. The next one is video ad. So this would be putting an actual video out in front of your audience. And here's an example of a promoted video from Bacon and Eggs Media. So as you can see, it's just native on your feed. Might not necessarily know that it's an ad other than you start watching it, you see the promoted, and it'll play. The cool thing about video ads is that you can actually track and retarget by how much of the video they watched. So if it's 25%, 50%, 75%, you can actually then retarget those people who are highly engaged with the video with stronger calls to action, send them to the landing page. So you could start with a cold video and then retarget based on how much they viewed. Or you could send people to your landing page and then retarget website visitors with videos. Then you could still track how many of those people are highly engaged, and you could have a third layer of retargeting, knowing that those people are a pretty warm audience to maybe hit with a stronger call to action, finally nudge them to a booked call. So video can be pretty powerful. Text ads are actually one of my favorites. They have very low cost per click. They usually show up on the right side of the feed. Let's see if I can refresh this and get a text ad. So usually they would look like this over here. So these are, I think these actually might be text ads over here. So they would show up over here. They would have a logo or a company logo, and then they would have call to action. And I can show you some of ours. Let's see. Oops, I probably didn't need to save that. So we really like these because they have a very, let me show you this real quick too. They have a very good impression rate. Like you can show, so here's our, let's see where our text ones are. All right, so here's our website conversion retargeting text ads. So we use text ads as retargeting, and we've only spent $700 on text ads, but have gotten $10,800 worth of conversion value. The big reason being that for that tiny amount of spend, we've gotten almost 1 million impressions. So I think they're underutilized on LinkedIn. So you get a really good price to post them there, and they get a lot of exposure. So the cost per click is going to be probably higher than some of your other ones, but you'll get a lot more impression share. Whereas, look at this. So this one has less than 100,000, so almost a tenth of the impressions for a lot more spend. $4,600 worth of spend for a lot less impressions. So these are the single image ads, and these are the text ads. So I like text ads as an addition to your other retargeting layers because it's an extra touch point, very little spend, and it's very impactful. The next type of ad is a spotlight ad, and these are also going to be featured over on the right-hand side. It usually is also called a dynamic ad. Let's see if I can refresh and find one real quick. It's not going to show it to me, but it's usually over here just in the same box. These are text ads, and this is actually one of ours. And the text ads I'll go back to the text ads. They're so cool because they show up so often. You could have like 20 text ads in that campaign, and they would get rotated through. So you have way more chances to put different things, to the point where I don't even use all of my text ads to just tell them about us and the brand. Sometimes I just do it to get a smile. Like this one says, "This next line has me dead. I bet you know who we are and what we do. Can your prospects say the same?" So this is basically saying, at this point, I know that you've been seeing us around. You know who we are. This is kind of what you should be doing for your clients. So here's this is actually a follower ad. So spotlight ads, very, very similar. It would have like the prospect's profile here. You'd have a small line of text, and you'd have a call to action that you could link to. So I might as well jump to the next one. This is a follower ad. Shows up on the right side of the feed. You have an option here to add some text. You have some option here to add some text. It can be dynamic in the way that it shows the prospect profile and even like a name placeholder. If they're not currently following you, the call to action is follow. If they are currently following your company page, then the call to action would be, visit company, or I forget what the other ones are. But that's spotlight, and I guess follower is not on here. That would be the engagement. The next two ads are very similar: message ad and conversation ad. So these are ads that are sent to your prospect's inbox, and it actually looks like a message. That is coming from someone on your team. So I'm actually going to show you an example of that. An event ad is pretty self-explanatory. Create ads using LinkedIn event that will show up in the feed. So you could create an event and then sponsor that event and basically drive traffic and signups to that event. And it would just show up natively in the feed. Hey, Impactable's holding whatever event, and you would be able to pay to put that on the news feeds of anyone you want. So let me show you an example of a conversation ad as we wrap up this section. So here would be an example of kind of what message ads or the conversation ads would look like. It's basically just in-mail coming from someone on the team. You'd have a chance to have a subject line, have a message, and you'd have calls to action that you could have. And the cool thing about conversation ads is that you can create kind of these 2 or 3 different options, and depending on the option they pick, it could have another sequence of action. Like one of them could be, learn more, and it would have a message, a response, maybe a link to a demo video, and then, you could have your other call to action. Are you ready to book a call? And if they click that, it could send them either to your website or the Calendly link. So it's message ads and conversation ads are sent directly to someone's inbox. They actually look like they're coming from someone on your team. You can set who the sender is. If they try to respond to those ads, they wouldn't go to any individual, and you don't necessarily know you don't get details on the exact people that are opening them unless they go to your website and convert or fill out the form. But you can also, I like to use them as retargeting ads. So you could send people to your website initially, and then you could retarget them with conversation ads. So those would be highly targeted, and you could be specific to like industry. So those are the main ad formats for LinkedIn. And if we have any more updates, I will bring those to you soon.